Brock.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
We talked a little bit last week. I think it was last week, and everybody kind of got mad at me because we were talking about the importance of a fast start for the Mariners. And I would love for the Mariners to start fast. In fact, in a moment, I'm going to tell you some reasons why I think it would be extra important this year.
Okay.
But my unpopular opinion will remain. If they don't start fast, I'm not going to freak out because I don't think April results are very indicative of how a team will finish at the end of the year. That doesn't mean each game's not important. It doesn't mean each game that they win or lose won't affect their overall record just as much as another one does. But I'm just not going to look at April performance as indicative of what the whole year is going to be. I'm not going to do that.
Oh, you're not?
I'm really not.
You're not.
And in case you were wondering, I do have some numbers for you. I like to come prepared.
But you do realize why you feel what you feel off that text toy. Because much like when we talk about the Seahawk O-line, they don't get the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
You just don't get the benefit of the doubt.
I know.
Like you start slow, you're just not going to get, they're going to turn it around. They're going to make the playoffs is what they do.
But I'm not saying. No one's saying that. It's just that you can't look at it and assume that's what's going to continue. Because let's see, 2021, that was the year they made the playoffs, right? 2021? No, they didn't. They missed it by one game.
Yeah, missed it by
They started 15-12. Pretty good start.
Yeah.
The next year, 2022, they did not. They did make the playoffs. That was exciting.
Yes.
They also won 90 games. They started 11-10.
Yep.
The next year after that, that's the really disappointing 2023. They won 88 games, 12-16. Not a great start.
No.
Last year, even more disappointing. You only won 85 games. Started 17-13. Pretty good. So those are their records at the end of April the last 4 years. They seem to have exactly zero relationship to how the team ended up finishing. Like zero. So again, I'm not going to freak out whether they, start off the year 20-10 or if they start off the year, 15-15 or, 12-18 or what. Like I'm not going to freak out about those things. I think it would be really, really helpful for them to start fast. I think this year in particular, it would be incredibly helpful for them to start fast. 3 reasons why. 1, buy-in. I do think it's worth remembering that this is still a new system and a new style that they're going to be playing. And if you want buy-in to something new, don't you want to see kind of some immediate success with it so that you know it's working and you want to stick with it?
I would think so. A little bit of what you were talking about as I was listening, driving in about Dylan. And it'd sure be nice if this spring, he could be a little bit more productive and not 2 for 29, right? With Kevin Seitzer, who said to you and me and Maura and Lyle down there, like, hey, one of the 3 guys I'm most excited to work with is Demo. Yeah. And we'd love to see when you get taught new principles or new fundamentals or, hey, Brock, here's a little tweak in your throwing motion. Hey, why don't you pat that ball back? Get a little dissociation. You'd like to see a little more velo. You'd like to see a little more command. You'd like to see what's kind of being taught to you and implemented actually paying off.
Or else you have a tendency to just be like, well, I'm in a game.
Forget that.
This matters. I'm going to do what I know works and has gotten me here.
Yes.
Well, it wouldn't be that surprising if Dylan Moore started trying to pull the ball to left field again once he got into a game, since he's 2 for whatever here in the spring.
You know my Dylan Moore analogy, right, with Jim Zorn? I've told you this before. I don't think Lyle's heard this. He decided to slow-mo my throwing motion. And when I would go to throw, like in super slow-mo, frame by frame, my fingers, like on a piano key, would hit the keys. They'd come off to get a last-second grip or something. I didn't even know what I was doing. And he's like, I figured it out. I'm going to unlock you. You're going to be that much quicker with the release because we're going to just keep your fingers glued to the football the whole time. You're not going to do your little thing at the end of it.
He definitely had not read the inner game of tennis.
No. So, then it got so into my, what am I even doing? I gripped the ball tighter, and I was like, oh, gosh, this thing is just not going to work. We're just going to need done.
So never mind.
Yes.
So anyway, it would certainly be helpful for them to invest, I think, and buy in to a new system, a new style, not just some of the hitting stuff, but also just the aggressiveness and new management, et cetera. 2, so far, we've not really seen any major issues crop up internally regarding the quiet off season. There was the one article, right, that Bob Nightingale wrote, and a couple of little comments that came out afterwards. But for the most part, it's been pretty, all quiet on the Western Front after the offseason that disappointed a lot of fans.
Mm-hmm.
Starting fast, I think, would help keep those questions or concerns bottled up, or maybe even erase them. A slow start this year may start, again, just given some of the insanity around the team and just the fervor and frustration that, a slow start could bring that out, not just with the fan base, but with the players as well.
Yeah, the first part's, I think, about the manager and about some of the new coaches and about a new style. I think that second part, that second aspect is about your biggest star, Julio, who believes the people around him are great.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not great, then it is going to start to probably, not that Julio responds to the media or all that messaging in a terribly negative way, never has. But it's like, no, actually, Julio, they're not that great.
Right.
And, unfortunately, they're not having bounce back seasons. And, they're not helping you. And then he probably feels like he's got to carry even more of the weight himself.
Right.
As well.
And then he gets himself back in that same spot. And then, again, as you're trying to potentially sign Cal, sign Logan, try to build the nucleus of this franchise moving forward and get buy-in to the overall plan. The last thing you want, baseball players are smart. They know, they're patient. They know that it's a 6-month season, not 1 month. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure that they are a little bit, kind of eyes on what this looks like and the way it actually plays out, given that there wasn't a tremendous amount of activity the offseason trying to make this thing a little bit better. So I think it would be awfully helpful for them to start fast. Third one, and this one is sort of over time, but as we've said, one of the challenges they did have in the quiet offseason was that there really weren't any teams that were selling that had a lot to sell. Mm-hmm. Certainly not bats, right? Other than the White Sox and maybe, Miami, Colorado, like there just weren't teams selling. Mm-mm. So for a team that was out there actively looking to trade prospects in order to bring back offense, there weren't a lot of suitors.
You see Lyle's guy? I was looking up his numbers last night. My long flight. A little bit of delay.
Kobe Mayo?
Oh, yeah. You see what he's doing?
No.
He is just not tearing the cover off the ball. No.
He's having a tough spring.
No, he's having a little rough spring. A lot of at bats, though. I think he maybe leads spring training in at bats.
Yeah.
But, yeah, not off to a great start.
Well, I'm not that worried about what he's doing in spring training, and I'm guessing Lyle isn't either.
Oh, he's real worried. Look at him.
If you are looking to trade prospects for proven offense, you need to start fast in order to prove it.
Yep.
And it would be nice if you beat some teams in order to help some other teams start slow so that maybe you are able to capitalize on a market that develops for some of their hitters and actually make some of the deals you would hope to make this offseason.
Okay. That's great. You got any last
No, just those
bolt
three.
in the holster?
That was it.
What about the fans? Are the fans part of that thing at all?
Not really.
Because you kind of want the fans to be there. You kind of want the fans to be present. Most things written by Divish and Kramer and a lot of the folks that cover the team and Shannon are like, yeah, this is a different tension with this fan base. Mm-hmm. This isn't just like we'll be okay. I'm going to give it patience. This is like the patience of the fans. By everybody and all accounts, and everybody that covers it's like, ooh, this is a different tenor this year.
I guess I sort of included that in the second one. I was thinking more about the players and their reaction to it because I think that's more meaningful. Mm-hmm. But obviously, yeah. I mean, look, the fans may get frustrated early, but if it turns around, then they'll be excited late.
Yep.
I mean,
I did tell you when they bang that place out with 44,000 a night every single game in a 161 season, people are clamoring for that.
Absolutely,
success.
as they should be.
And when it's full and there's people in there, it tends to, it just tends to heighten the whole experience.
Well, in theory, would bring in more revenue, which would allow them to spend more, and all of those things should be true. But we'll see. I'm not going to freak out if they don't have a great start.
Guess what, Michael? We know that.
I know.
No, we know that. I think Maura knows it. I think Lyle knows. I think I know that. Yes, I think you will be more patient, honestly, because you've been down this road.
Because we've all been down this road.
Well, but you're kind of the grass. You're kind of
not really. No, we've all been down this road. Just some people don't.
You get a little annoying about it. It's like, okay, but we're still fans, so we're still gonna if we're invested, we're gonna get passionate and emotional.
As you should. Yeah. I get passionate and emotional too. What I don't do is assume that my passion and emotion is indicative of what's going to happen tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that.
True.
And that's what makes me mad every year.
Yes.
The fact that people still don't learn that same lesson over and over and over again.
The thing
because
is,
we're
they
fanatics.
feel
We're
fans feel
fanatics.
like the more years that pile up without what they want happening, the quicker they get frustrated. That's how it works
true.
in their minds.
Yeah, and as they should. I'm frustrated. No one's upset with people being frustrated.
No.
It kind of sounds like you lecture us for being frustrated.
No,
he's
I don't.
not.
I'm
No.
literally saying not that.
Maura, he's not. No, I know this guy for 16 years. I know. I do.
Literally not saying that. You know what? We're going to take a break.